And we are live. So, hello everyone, IFMSA friends and members. We're really happy to be here at the COP22, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Conference of Party number. And we are the IFMSA delegation here to tell you more about what we are doing here, why we are having this webinar specifically at the COP. Also to tell you more about the link with all the activities that we are doing here with our activity worldwide, and also with you guys, and how you can participate in the longer term. And we have a lot of good opportunities that you can use. So far, 1 week has passed, and we have a lot of things that we've achieved, but also the best is with the next week, and also as a matter of follow-up with our delegation. So we have wonderful speakers with us here, and I'll be moderating this webinar. My name is Skander Safi. For those who don't know me, I'm from Tunisia, and I'm the liaison officer for public health issues for the second term. And I'm acting as the focal point for of IFMSA for climate change and health issues, and here the head of delegation for IFMSA, with Sana and Amr, who will tell us more about their experience during this COP, about their daily schedule and the things they've been working on a daily basis, and also inspire you or have you also engaged in climate change and health internally, but also externally within such conferences. Tell us more about your experience.
Okay, so I'm Sana. I'm from the Netherlands. My experience so far, I went first into climate change and health at the pre-General Assembly workshop in August meeting with Lina, who's also here. And from then on, I got more engaged, and now I'm standing here at the COP22.
Okay, for me, my name is Amr Ajlan. I'm from IFMSA Egypt, and I'm currently doing an internship in the World Health Organization in the Climate Change and Health Unit. And this is my first COP. I have BDB sessions before COP21, but this is my first COP, my first COP to attend, and it's very interesting to be here with you.
Very good. Very good. So, if you can tell us more about your COP started for you, what was your feeling starting up until now? Sana, if you'd like to start.
Yeah, we're starting quite early. Every day at 8 o'clock we're here to meet with Yongo, which is the official unity of UNFCCC. And from then on, I'm mainly focused on following the negotiations, and from there following up with the parties who seem receptive for the health, a message we wanted to get across, and just discussing with them further if they were indeed receptive to it.
Can you give us some examples on how negotiators were reacting to our proposals or to our message on health?
I think there's reactions. One is like, yeah, person isn't here, I can pass it along, but hey, basically. And the other is actually pretty interested, like, hey, yeah, we have that problem in our country, we recognize it, we think it's important, can you please tell us more? We want to also give you our view, and that's really interesting. That's the most interesting discussions I had in this COP so far.
Very good. And how do you think and our audience here can benefit from such opportunities in the longer term, if you have any ideas?
Well, we're talking with some country folks, so maybe we can pass along the contact. We're also like, yeah, we have local people there as well. Can be a benefit. You can also what to talk about, so we can pass the message along if you want to, and we're happy to.
Very good, Sana. And moving on to Amr, if you can also tell us, especially that you're currently the World Health Organization intern with the climate change and health field.
Okay, thank you, Skander. So as you said, as I'm currently now working in the World Health Organization as intern, so mainly my efforts during the last week to coordinate between the health organizations here in COP22. Yesterday we had a very interesting meeting with Dr. Maria Niera. She's the head of the Agriculture and Environment Department at the WHO, more between all the health organizations attending the COP22, and try to make all our efforts united to have like health in the center of the negotiations. And yeah, like yesterday was our health action day for 3 hours, and it was really interesting to see many different groups of health organizations talking about their experience in health and climate change, how they think from their perspective they can cooperate and try to make health center of the negotiations, and everyone aware of the climate impacts on health. And also IFMSA, we had a presentation yesterday, more about it later. And really it was very interesting presentation to see how many people are like really and how we are doing a great job with capacity building and education and for youth generally. So yeah, like I think this is really after this for the last years, our ADB sessions or even in our international and national meetings and workshops. So only for the last week highlights.
Thank you. Sounds very exciting. I just forgot to mention that if you have any questions or any input still that you can provide within our delegation, you can ask questions in our YouTube platform, or you can also leave comments in the Facebook event, and you can access these platforms in the email that have been. Another question to you: what do you think are the challenges for the health community nowadays, seeing that the Paris Agreement has been adopted, and what plans are we looking forward?
Okay, so the Paris Agreement in COP21 was a great achievement, but without follow-up and without implementation of this agreement, it's not clearly useful for anyone. The challenge, especially in this COP, is about how to follow up and how to implement what the countries agreed in Paris Agreement. So far, we have around 100 countries ratified the Paris Agreement. However, not so many countries included health in their adaptation plans. We have here a program in UNFCCC called Nairobi Working Program, where countries are adaptation plans in different themes. So we have around their specific adaptation plans in health part. There is still so much to be the period, how aware of the mitigation measures that should be taken for achievement, especially during the next period. And like hopefully before 2020, we will have all the countries ready for working on their adaptation plans, their health adaptation plans, and ready to go. We have been coming from like health was not really in this position. We really achieved a lot, but there is still so many things to be done. Usually, we will achieve our goals very soon.
Very good. Going back to if you can tell us more about the adaptation plan that
we've seen that while talking to the countries, many countries, especially
haven't submitted their national adaptation plan. What if you
talk with these leaders, I don't know, what does it mean also for
yeah, I think there's definitely an opportunity there, because they still have to submit their plans, and it's up until now countries really seem receptive to the health message, and if it's there, they kind of on it. So if they really know that they're committed to the health message, that they actually can get funding for it. People with more money know they want to work on it. It would be great, especially because these are mostly the people who are mostly affected by the health effects. It would be really great if they put it into their plan so they can really start working on it.
Excellent. So we've seen that a lot of countries from different regions and from different socioeconomic aspects are committed to this agreement, and we're hoping that these implementation plans at the national level can help back them. There are a lot of opportunities around them. Perhaps if you can tell us more about the members that are listening to us, how they can contribute to it, or how in the future, perhaps if they're interested, they can participate in such events, and what kind of recommendations you give to them?
But I think it always starts with yourself. Just we have an amazing manual which gives all the information you need into climate change and health, and also what you can do about it. And if once you're there, you can. I mean, it happened to me quite fast as well. You know the information, you can work on it. First, locally is fine. That's where maybe if you know there, go nationally, go to your government and say, hopefully they have health in their national adaptation plans then. And so you can say to them, hey, I saw you were working on that. How's that going? I don't see a lot of it, or maybe you see a lot of it and want to congratulate them on that. You can really easily go here. Just want to do it, what you want some plumfish, and before you know it, you're here, just like we are now.
Very good. And IFMSA is one of such opportunities to provide you such issues that are similar to health. Amr, would you like to add anything?
I would just like to emphasize that this COP is very special for the health community because, as I said yesterday, we had the Health Action Day, and this is the first time to have an action day dedicated to health in COP meeting. So this is really a great achievement, not only because of this, but also for the second week. Just to give you an idea about what's going to happen, WHO is having a meeting for the ministers of health who are here attending COP22. They are now, like the people who confirmed that they are going to attend, there are around 20 ministers and other volunteers from Ministry of Health. So it's very good to see ministers of health attending this meeting. And the idea of the meeting on 15th of November is to have a kind of coalition between the ministers of environment and ministers of health to try to make the message stronger that environment is really linked to health and environment is really affecting the health. It's not just about climate change, it's about many other factors affecting our health from the environment. We have around 12.8 people dying yearly because of environmental causes. So this is around a quarter of the whole global deaths happening each year. That's why it's really important to understand this. And there also a declaration which should be announced during this meeting next week. Should keep following us on our website. We have our blog post next week, so we keep you updated about what's happening. Personally, for me, the last day when I said all the organizations, Healthcare Without Harm, Global Climate and Health Alliance, talking about their ambitions and how they are contributing to solve this problem. It was very inspiring for me, especially to see how IFMSA is also a very key player in such negotiations. We are, but we can really affect how politics happening. So so hopefully, I really encourage people who are motivated to join and try to be more involved, especially in IFMSA is very expressive and has very good history during the last years, achieving many things. So hopefully more and more people can get involved and can join.
Terrific. Thank you so much, for those who just joined us, we are live talking about climate and health, especially today at the COP22. And for those who are still new to the topic of climate change and health, of what the COP means, you may have a look at our activities on our website. We have shared blog posts for this COP, but also on the previous COPs that explain more our role as IFMSA, why climate and health is a priority for us, and what we have done so far, and how much of continuity has happened in the previous. For example, a couple of years ago, health was just mentioned at one side event or in one time in the agreement, and now seeing that it's mentioned 2 times, and there's still a lot to go, especially to see it implemented at the national level. But looking forward more to what it means to IFMSA and how we can use it at the external level, and for our members, we're moving towards Lina and Amin, who are our champions, if I would say, for IFMSA, and to let us know more about on the focus area that has been adopted on climate change and health, what we would like as indicators to happen, and also the different external opportunities that we can use in the future. If you can introduce yourself first.
Do you want to start?
You can go. You can go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Line. I'm from IFMCC Denmark, and I'm currently the IFMSA program coordinator on environment and health, and I'm here at COP as part of the delegation for this second week and last year as well. So trying to follow up a bit as well on the things we did last year. Yeah.
Okay. Hello. So my name is Amin Lotfi. I'm in Morocco, and I'm the current IFMSA liaison officer to the World Health Organization. And I'm also very passionate about climate change and health. I had the opportunity to participate to a meeting of the UNFCCC in Bonn, which has been held right before the COP21, where policymakers and country representatives were discussing the draft of what is now the Paris Agreement. There we worked with IFMSA delegation to try to put health in the Paris Agreement, which we kind of achieved. And right now we are also delegation in COP22, which is COP of action to help implement and scale up the agreement and keep the focus.
Great. So, I mean, maybe if we can start with you. What do you think are the external activities that can benefit IFMSA that we're training program? What are the different opportunities and the challenges that we have and that we can use in the future for climate change and health?
So, in this field and regarding meaningful youth participation, first of all, as IFMSA, we already have a great opportunity that is offered for us by the World Health Organization. We work closely with the Department of Public Health, especially the Climate Change and Health Unit, with whom we organize an internship program, in which I participate, in which Amr has participated, and with which many future interns will go. Moreover, we also worked with them in the famous Climate and Health Manual, which you have heard about, and which was presented yesterday in the Health Action Day. So this manual is freely available. You can find them on the web, and you can use it as a really interesting resource to start capacity building activities at the local or national level. Actually, this manual has already been used. I could give the example of Morocco. The last National General Assembly of Morocco, the topic was climate change and health. As you may have noticed, this is a trendy topic by now. And this manual has really been useful. It has been shared in the local level, and many students started to get involved thanks to this. Moreover, we also have opportunities to get involved at the national level with your delegation, country delegation. It's something we're working on with IFMSA, but also with Yongo, which, as Zane said, is the youth constituency to the UNFCCC. And thanks to the efforts that they're doing here at the COP22 and they've been doing at previous COPs, and the opportunity of youth to participate in these meetings, not only as members of IFMSA, but also as representatives of their countries.
Thank you, Amin. Perhaps you can tell us more that we're looking forward to have it implemented throughout the manual, which is the medical curricula. How do you see this? Like a huge, huge step towards having it in the curricula. But what kind of do you see implemented locally?
Yes, that's a really good question. This is an issue that has been raised yesterday at the WHO conference here at the Health Action Day. We, as IFMSA, we have talked about the need to include climate change in the medical curricula, or at least to have it presented, because what WHO has been saying is we're struggling right now to get the health community involved in this topic. And one really important thing is, how do you want the health community to get involved in an issue that they don't place? So one really important step that I think we should undertake in order to have more medical students, more doctors, more nurses, more involved in environmental health, particularly, is to try to explain to them the topic at large and how climate change influences our health. So we are going to try to advocate here with the Yongo working group on action and empowerment for climate and health, and we'll try to push forward with the countries who are interested to see how we could have and climate and health in the medical curricula, and we're looking forward for medical students at the local and national level to try to push for that as well, and to use the manual that has been produced as a way to move things forward.
Thank you very much, Amin. Now moving towards Lina, if you can tell us more about the global external focus areas on climate change and health and how the program can benefit but also contribute a lot to the actions that are to be done.
Yeah, sure. So this past GA in Mexico, we approved the external focus areas, the strategic goals for those. And there is three that relate to the climate change and health. They have difference as well. And I think one of the ones that we are currently sort of closest to, one that says to have IFMSA be recognized as youth and health leaders within youth groups and organizations, because as you have all mentioned, we've been really active within YOUNGO, the youth constituency here at the UNFCCC, and have established a health working group and are trying to collaborate with other youth NGOs who are interested in health or who has a health perspective. And we've been working closely as well with the Human Rights Working Group in YOUNGO to collaborate on the right to health, to have that perspective as well. And have been involved as well in the planning of what is called the COI, the Conference of Youth, that is held every year prior to the indicators on this GIFA, a global external focus area on climate change and health, and that's going really well at the moment. And in this way, we're also sort of meeting other partners who have other views and other inputs on how to implement health and climate change together, which I think is something that can be highly useful for activities we have who's enrolled program because we establish a lot of contacts with different people, both from different countries and from different backgrounds, that can be really useful collaborators for the projects that run nationally and locally and internationally as well.
Very good, Lina. Maybe if you can tell us more about how can members enroll their activities and what kind of activities they can enroll and how it should fit into our work and our priority for climate change and health.
So on of course, climate change and health activities, as well as other activities, for example, activities working on chemicals in the environment, water sanitation systems, and so forth and so forth. So there's many different opportunities for activities to enroll, not only being linked to climate change and health, but like seeing the environment as a broad umbrella for activities. We met with someone yesterday who was working with endocrine disrupting chemicals, for example, who was very interested to do campaigns on the health impacts of endocrine disrupting chemicals, and projects working in good example of something that is very much environment and health, but isn't directly linked to climate change and health. So for the program, we're looking for all sorts of different activities. Then is involvement, and it is on the IFMSA website. But you can also always contact me at ifmsa.org, the email address, and I would be happy to explain to you the entire procedure. And the reason we do this is sort of to be able to measure the impact that we do, so to ensure that we as IFMSA actually do a lot of work on environment and health, and we're able to say that we actually do change something, which is really important, and which is one of the things that we can really use here at a meeting such as COP, where we're meeting stakeholders, that we are able to say we as IFMSA do important work and we actually do change things. So by enrolling the programs in the activities into the program, we can actually go out and say, well, we have taught this many people on climate change this year, or we have done this campaign on chemicals, etc., etc. So yeah, it's really important to enroll activities, and we welcome like everyone to enroll. It would be great. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Lina. And we hope to see many more activities happening and being enrolled national, international level, and from your great work, so that we can report on it and show the great impact that you're having in your communities. We're still in the climate and health webinar, seeing the focus that we have on all the external focus areas, and we're trying to promote it with our members, because you are the key, one of the key actors in implementing it, and we're just doing it and try to provide all the opportunities that we have. I'd like to challenge the speakers that we have with us. Something that we've been speaking about it, and we're trying to keep the follow-up, because seeing that this COP is quite different, but it's also very hectic and to keep it happening. and figure out what is our role here and trying to raise our voice as much as possible. But we don't want this to stop at the COP. So how do you think, starting from the end of the COP, how do you think we should continue the work that we're doing and trying to think on better ways to have a different stakeholders that we're meeting and to really have a stronger voice, especially for the next years to come? Anyone who'd like to reply?
Yes, thanks for this question. Well, I can maybe give a start at the beginning of an. We've been approached by our manual, and he heard about it. Doing some kind of a bit of promoting here, and he was really interested because he wanted to carry on capacity building and awareness raising activities in Hungary, but he didn't got any materials on the topic, and he just came and asked about the IFMCA manual, with whom I shared to him, and he was really happy, and he's a member of the delegation. I think we could use this manual and use it also as a way to promote our activities and the way we are involved in IFMSA, but also encourage our network, the NMOs, to use it and to promote it at the national level. Because what we discovered here is indeed we have put a lot of efforts into the manual, but it's still not nice enough, and there's quite promoting it and using it.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely. I mean, and I think one thing that is important to remember is that a lot of the decisions being made from the world community is being made here at COP one time a year. But there's a lot going on as well the rest of the year, and we need to not forget that climate change is a really important issue throughout the year. And I think one of the ways that we can best influence what happens here at COP is to go out and make strong climate advocates, because in the end, it is the politicians here that decide much of the international law about this issue, but the politicians are elected by the people. And only if the people starts putting a demand to the politicians to address climate change will we get politicians who are. And one of the ways of doing that is, for example, to take the climate change and health training manual at home, keep issues in these links. So I think at home, one of the things you can do, especially between COPs, is you just spread the word and get people involved and get people active, because as soon as this becomes an issue we all talk about, between COPs and all the rest of the year, then it's going to be an issue that the politicians will also take seriously.
Very good. Would you like to continue, or maybe I can ask another question?
Well, I think one of the most important things as well, what Lina said was really good, but it doesn't have to be hard. It's pretty easy to start something like that. You all can do it, so please contribute to our mission. Everybody is really capable of doing so.
I just need I don't want to repeat anything that was already said. As Amin mentioned, capacity building and education is one of our main areas that we can be involved in climate change and health and keep our work. I also believe that IFMSA, with its great outreach in more than 120 countries, I don't remember the number exactly, but so many countries. So it's really a good push for universities to include climate change and health in our medical curricula, because now medical students need to understand the effect on health. It's affecting all aspects of health, and if doctors are not really aware of how climate change is affecting our health, especially in the most vulnerable areas, so it will be a catastrophe for the health community in the next 50 or 100 years. So yeah, just stressing on the part of the medical curricula that we can push on, and we are already working in similar projects, so this can be really helpful for us.
Very good. So starting with the medical students sounds to be key in this process. But what about the other students that sometimes health is not that obvious for them when we talk about it, especially perhaps when we are here with the different NGOs that work on health, but not that much. They don't impact or how they can. Anyone would like to? What about the other students for whom health is not that obvious? Perhaps collaborate.
Yeah, that's more different, but I find by my experience here that everybody's really open to health. I think because it's always important for everybody. Everybody knows at least health by themselves. Everybody wants to be healthy. And once you educate them, once you raise the awareness that health it has impacts on every part that they're also stressed about, then I feel like they really want to work with us and they really want to incorporate what we are doing. So I think it's mainly also about capacity building and just spreading the message to get them also with us.
And we have a sort of surprise that we haven't announced. So he just joined us actually. So we're lucky to have Omar, IFMSA president, with us. Can you see him? Yeah. Hi, Omar. So Omar is also of the team of officials to help with the different tasks on behalf of the IFMSA, but also to find opportunities to bring back. And perhaps Omar, if you would like to share with us experience the different interactions with members that to help you, for example.
Yeah, so hello everyone. Thank you, Skander, for the introduction. It has been really, really interesting so far. We have had so many discussions with other youth delegates. IFMSA here is representing the only health youth delegates in the COP. So we're trying to advocate for the inclusion of health in all kind of discussions. So we have been mainly trying to be involved with everything, but especially with different Yango working groups. There were several working groups that we have been involved in, and we have been trying to include more health in the discussions. And it has been mentioned just now by Skander that it is not very much obvious for it might be a bit obvious for medical students or health professionals, the link between health and climate change, but it's not that much obvious for other students. We have been quite successful in that being here because we have been discussing a lot about health. We held a workshop. There was the Health Action Day yesterday that was held by the WHO. So we have been quite successful in that, and we also talked a lot about the climate change training manual that was explained a bit before by Amin. And many youth delegates actually approached us, being interested in having access to it, so to understand a bit more the impacts of climate change on health. So I think that was really great, and I can see a lot of the success that IFMSA has been doing here, at least in the COP.
Very good. Thank you, Omar. And we've seen that a lot of focus has been put, and year after year, we could see that we're really getting more and more attention, not even at the internal level, but also externally. You can see there's a plane over there, and we're trying to keep up with the same standards. And also, so what do you think are the challenges for next week, for the next delegations, for the delegation for the second week, having some of our members here, and perhaps, yeah, any thoughts or ideas?
Okay, so one of the main things I think we can try to focus on during the second week, there will be many ministers of health and representatives from the Ministry of Health attending the COP. So we can try to approach them more and try to explain more what are the opportunities for IFMSA to work on the topic of climate change and health in collaboration with the Ministers of Health. As it was mentioned before, that people here are really open to health, and they are really interested for someone to take lead and start talking to them and start to create new initiatives or new projects which they can work with us in. So I think we should focus on trying to approach more countries. Also, we have thanks to the IFMSA delegation in the first week, we had very good representation in Yongo meeting and Yongo working groups. So we should try to keep this and try to keep IFMSA one of the strong organizations in Yongo, because in UNFCCC, when youth speak, it's mainly Yongo. So we have to keep our presence and our voice in the Yongo group. And yes, as it was said, that we are now in a very good position, and IFMSA is really powerful in the UNFCCC. Thanks to all the previous delegations during the last years, and hopefully we will continue with this during the next years and become more and more efficient and
Very good. Done.
Yeah, I think we've been quite successful in raising awareness for health up until now, but it doesn't really reflect into the negotiations. You don't hear health mentioning anywhere. Sometimes some social or environmental determinants, but no. So I think that could be really an achievement we could strive for in the next week.
Perhaps if you would like to give a mention to the document that we've been producing, I don't know if anyone. The policy briefs. Anyone?
Yeah, we made 2 policy briefs, 2 specific topics we would really like to address for this COP. One is about financing. If you invest into climate change, you have many health co-benefits. So it's actually 2 for 1. Invest in one, get both. So that's amazing. And the second is we already talked about the national adaptation plans. And that's to have a strong in with this Paris Agreement, so that everybody puts health into their adaptation plans, and so starts working on the impact that health has.
Yeah, and the postcard. We have very nice, well-designed postcard for. Nice, and it was distributed to the health groups yesterday during the Health Action Day, and yeah, it's very nice, as you see.
And maybe just one thing to add to the previous question. Something that was mentioned yesterday in the Health Action Day was that a lot of before, we used to be the ones approaching countries to make sure to include health, that health is not being forgotten in the negotiations. But now it might be that actually countries are the ones approaching us to make sure that health is being included. And so we're trying to be around to make sure that our voice is heard and that we do not miss such opportunity.
Seems that it's take more action. You are still questions, so we're looking forward to have them. So far, we just got two questions. First one is will the answer is yes on YouTube after this, and the second question, and perhaps Amin would like to answer if we will be giving tips in the end.
Well, I think we all be giving autographs at the end, not only me, but the whole IFMSA delegation, because we'll all be working really hard here at COP. And especially I'm thinking about Skander, who's been doing a great work. And yes, because it's really not easy. It starts really early in the morning at 8 with all the youth meetings. And then it ends at 6 or 7. And it's like this every day for 2 weeks. So it's a lot of endurance. But we are really happy to be here and to raise the voice of medical students, especially in such an interesting, passionate topic such as climate change and health. So we're really looking forward to the second week.
The actual answer that Amin provided on Facebook just bring us to one of the ways or one of the channels to give a better focus on the issue of climate change, but also on climate change and health, is to have some of the stars or actors that can be champions. So Leonardo DiCaprio is a champion for climate change. We also have some champions for climate change and health. So in the WHO conference for Paris, we had the Queen of Spain who had the honor to have the impact and to really raise the voice in the global community about climate change and health. So this is one of the ways that even for one represent climate change and health for medical youth in general, and that could be one of the bring the general public. So perhaps if we have some closing comments, since we are not taking questions, and would like to or especially about if we can try to summarize about all the different things to dialogue.
I would say that first off, today and tomorrow, give all the input to us that you can and that you want us to consider. If there is someone from your country that you would like to get in touch with, let us know and we'll try to make that happen. We are here to serve you, the members of IFMSA, so never forget that. And I would like to echo what Sana said earlier about the sort of short way that there is to the IFMSA delegations. Get involved and apply to be part of the external efforts in the future. You don't have to have worked on this for like 1,000 years to be able to go. We have both really new members and really experienced members in our delegations, and you learn a ton from it. And then I think it's also important to say that all the work that is being done locally and nationally is equally as important as the work that are done here. So get involved locally and nationally, and yeah, make sure to spread the message both to your fellow medical students and, as Skanda said, to all other medical students, not all other students, and everyone else in general. The concept of climate change and health as being linked is often very abstract to some people, and it's actually quite easy to explain it. So just go be a climate and health advocate in daily life, I'd say.
So get involved, give your input, climate local activities, and what it means also for us on the international level. Thank you, Lena. Would like to maybe add?
Just to echo again what Lena said, as she said, you don't have to be really knowledgeable, you just have to be really passionate. And there are really various ways of getting involved, and maybe I could give you some more insights on how to get involved by our experience here only at the first week. You can start at your local level, see with your faculty if you can organize conferences or talks about climate change and health. You can discuss it with schools of public health. We've been approached here by a school of public health which was really interested in doing a review of the carbon footprint of the health sector. Many countries don't have an idea on what is the impact of the health sector on climate change, and this is also a way how we get involved. There's also a lot of organizations that work on this topic. You can check what the World Medical Association is doing on that. You can check what Healthcare Without Harm is doing on that. They're also doing a lot of interesting initiatives which can inspire you. So it's not only about this United Nations conference, even though it's really interesting to be here, but it's also, and more important, about the work at the ground level.
So if I can summarize, contact your university, healthcare sector, and other organizations at the local level.
Yeah. Just something we forgot to mention, that we were also active during the COI, the Conference of Youth, before the COP. It's just for young people. It's 3 days workshop before the COP. So we had a workshop on climate change and health during the COI. And then we also had a workshop during, it was 3 or 4 days ago here in the Green Zone in the COP, also about climate change and health. So we are here trying to do our best to advocate for health and make health clear for everyone. Yeah, so that's it. Like, just to mention that we were present at the Conference of Youth.
Okay, Conference of Youth.
Okay, I think that is a great first step of being active, that you're following this webinar. That's how you get information, and please go further along, spread the message, and that would be awesome for attending.
Yeah, maybe just the last comment from my side is that it's not only about what IFMSA can do, it's also what you guys can do. And it is very much important that you, as Lena said, that you also get involved, but that you also pass the message to your fellow medical students, but not only that, but also to your friends and colleagues, family, everyone. And yeah.
Awesome. So I think we will get to the end of the webinar, but this will not be the end for sure. Our Twitter post. So if you have any input or any question, you can direct us to the delegation. You can email me at lph@ifmsa.org. There's so many different platforms that we can provide you. We're just looking forward to your messages, and hopefully we will be answering to your expectations. So I think this is it for this Saturday afternoon, and we're looking forward to Sunday, which will be yeah, our day off, especially for Amin and I, who will be staying for both weeks. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you in future webinars, especially linked to the global focus external areas, and to have you as much involved as possible. So have a nice weekend. See you soon. And